prior to the baby actually coming.
Step 3.
Step 3, know that there's gonna be huge diaper costs, clothing, maintenance costs, nannies maybe. Every doctor's bills is a huge one. You never know when your little one's gonna fall sick.
And they get sick over and over and over and over again.
Medication is insane as well.
Yeah.
Correct, medication. And then finally, you sit with a good financial advisor and let him look at your life insurance is a must. It's protecting the what if. If I die and I'm looking after a family or a kid that's coming into this world, what's going to happen?
Again, it's that thing of you're not just an adult anymore, you're looking after somebody. Yeah.
Correct. Disability. Our income earning ability is our greatest asset as we stand, and you want to protect that. Updating your beneficiaries, that all falls within good financial planning. Beneficiaries to your employee scheme benefits, and then your will. You want to know upfront, who do I trust that's going to look after my baby if the sad reality occurs? And who's going to look after the money? You know, you want to have two separate people, some independence there, looking after the baby and looking after the money for the baby.
Now, I know that you're a financial planner and all of this exists in your professional space. Did you apply this when your son was born? Is this what actually happened, Nita?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
To a T?
Yes, we started, he took out an education plan from the day we found out we were pregnant.
Wow.
We've got, obviously being a financial planner, he can't sell you anything unless we've got it all in place, which is important.
Sure.
I'm a stay-at-home. I'm a
Brilliant.
stay-at-home mom, so he's got to look after all of us and have his ducks in a row. And if anything happens to Dad, we're taken care of.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got to stick with the plan. It sounds tough, but it's not, because see your financial advisor. Sort it out, it's done. You're not worrying about it at the end of the day. Formula and diapers and all of that, yes, they add up. Clothing is gone ridiculous. Medical expenses. I spent about 1,000 rand on medication for my son last week.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Especially now it's winter. Yeah.
But it's there, and you kind of, it comes together. Somehow you tend to provide for your kids. So those costs aren't like the huge stuff is the cots, the prams, the education, the life investments, stuff like that. I feel safe. I'm looked after.
And without a strategy, it's traumatic if you don't have a strategy.
You need to have these things in place as soon as you find out you're pregnant or think about planning a family. Yeah.
We've got a question from one of our Facebook moms. Deborah says that she is due back to work in a couple of weeks and she feels that she's not ready to leave her little baby behind. What advice can you give her, Brian?
Well, that's a tough situation if she has to be back at work.
That's the thing.
You know, if she's got the obligation to be back, it depends what her real options are in terms of support, financial support. If it's really that she wants to try to negotiate an extension of her maternity leave with her company, or whether she really doesn't see herself wanting to go back, that is only going to be possible if she has the support of her partner, her life partner, her husband, and they can manage it.
It's true.
It's a very difficult situation.
Or if she's saved up to be at home,
that's great.
It's difficult. Des, again, your advice for a mom who has to go back to work but just feels she's emotionally not ready from a financial planning perspective.
Well, the way I look at it, we've got to be realists. And if you know that you're going to have to go back to work at some stage, start saving well before the baby comes.
Okay.
Plan with your partner, like you said, your life partner is a huge pillar of strength in that time.
Okay.
Mum might not be in the right space. Speak to people that can help to get your mind clear. Face facts, I'm going to have to go back to work. Save from day one.
It's also great advice for single moms. You can still apply the same advice, plan in the same way, even if you're alone. Coming up after the break. When baby arrives, your roots begin to show. How to navigate cultural or religious differences with your partner. Welcome back. The challenges a couple faces when they come from different cultural backgrounds can lead to endless disagreements when children arrive. How will you name your child? Which religion will he or she follow? These may be just some of the challenges, or maybe not. Mzi Khumalo and Leanne Callanan are parents to 2-year-old Sierra, and they have a successful recipe for integrating their cultural beliefs into their family. Psychologist Blem helps us negotiate around these sensitive issues, and you're also welcome to send in all your questions and comments too. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Mzi, how long have you guys been together?
Say about 6 to 7 years or so.
60. Okay, so it's a while.
Yes, it has been a while.
And
yeah.
Sierra's 2 years old.
Yes, she is.
So, Leanne, you guys had you had time to talk about your cultural differences and all these issues before you had a baby.
Yeah, I suppose we did. I don't think we really had maybe some of the challenges that maybe other couples had. We've got quite accepting families.
Okay.
So we didn't really have a lot of cultural problems really when we were dating. I think our focus becoming parents was how is it going to be for our daughter and her future, because I think it will be harder for her to navigate maybe being mixed race than for us to be in a mixed race relationship.
That's interesting. Why?
Well, based on stories from other people that grew up in similar types of homes, in mixed homes, they were like, they felt like they were the person that had it tougher, because, you know, as adults, you've kind of got the coping mechanisms to deal with other people's feelings about your relationship, and we've made the decision. So it's a little bit easier for us to kind of just brush it off. But I think children, they're still growing up, trying to find a sense of identity. And
you're either or. It's not that you're black or you're white or whatever race. You're just in between. You're someone. You
And
know?
every time you walk into a room, you're a story.
Yeah, someone wants to find out what happened. What are you?
Yeah.
What do you identify with most? You know. So it's something they have to battle with quite a bit.
How did you, or how are you as parents helping her to feel a sense of power and ownership over her identity? I mean, I know you've got an interesting story about her name. She's got 2 names.
Yes,
Could
she
you
does.
share that with us?
We gave her 3 names actually.
3 names.
Yes, the one's part Leanne's name's Lee, and then there's Sierra. Sierra we chose one because we like the way it sounds and what it symbolizes. It means jagged mountain, you know, and I thought the strength in a mountain and an unmoving fixture would speak to her solidarity as a person.
Oh, beautiful.
You know? And then there's Ketiwe, which is
The chosen one.
And she is the chosen one, essentially. I mean, she's brought us together. We're closer than what we were before, with her being in our lives, and she's helped our families also come together as well, you know. So yeah, that's what happened with that.
How did your families come together? I mean, they're obviously, you guys have been together for a while, so they knew each other before. But I mean, when a baby comes, there's like rituals, there's ntaolo, there's all this other stuff. How did you negotiate that?
We actually didn't go through those paces. I was surprised myself in terms of, I spoke to my dad, I was like, do you think this is what we should do? It's like, look, you know what, you should do whatever makes you happy, you know? That's all I care about at this point in life and in your life. And my mom said the same thing.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't necessarily have to go through all of those paces. Also, I mean, it's not that her family didn't particularly understand that, you know? And I think the baby as a whole was overwhelming enough as it is. Everyone was just happy to have this new member of the family there. So we kind of left those things aside. And yeah, we moved on with life, you know.
What about things like traditions, cultural traditions, even language? What languages can she speak, or is she learning?
We're raising her to be bilingual, so she'll speak English and Zulu, which we think is also an important life skill to give her, to be able to interact with the cultures from both sides. Yeah, and we participate in each other's cultural beliefs, and she's always included. So we never wanted it to be like, I'm not going to do that because mommy's white, and you know, and daddy doesn't do that because daddy's black. So I will do everything that he does, and he does everything that I do, and she's included in that. So she has a safe space.
Brian, it seems like Leanne and Mzi both approach their relationship with a large degree of flexibility. And it seems like their families are very supportive and also willing to adapt to the culture that they're creating as a couple. What advice can other families, mixed culture, mixed religion, mixed heritage, what kind of tips can they take from Leanne and from Z's approach?
Well, I think it is this openness and flexibility, and I'm just sensing a consideration and respect for each other and each other's uniqueness. And here is a unique little girl in the world now, and you are very mindful of encouraging her and protecting her and supporting her to become everything she's destined to be. So I think it is really about communication, the ability to share information with each other in user-friendly ways, which is not threatening or rejecting of one another in any particular way. And your daughter is really looking to the love that exists between the two of you and the trust that exists between the two of you. That's her holding space in her life. So my advice to couples who have got these differences would be that they really, and I like to use the analogy that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and we are all, it is always a relationship, is always a blending of cultures, and we always have to negotiate and share information and find our way synergistically to a 1 + 1 = 3, 5, infinity, based on our ability to really just work at our relationship. So it is a work in progress. And that's what you're really aware of, that you are creating that environment. And that environment is coming from inside of you each for her.
What's your advice to other mixed race, mixed heritage, mixed culture couples? I mean, it's the year of our Lord 2013. We are in Johannesburg. We are moving forward, but sadly, some people are not. What's your advice if people find themselves in a situation where they're struggling to cross over certain barriers? Sometimes not even in the relationship, sometimes it's outside.
I think something that stuck with me was somebody defined culture as shared meaning. And so I think that's one of the things that helps to be patient, to understand why it's important to somebody in the family or to your partner or to your child, is to understand the meaning behind why something's important than just dismissing it like, oh, that's not important to me. So, yeah.
So ask the reason why. Why do you do this?
Yes.
Why is this
so we
important
can
to
share
you?
in that meaning as
Beautiful.
to why it's important to you for us to partake in an event or whatever it is.
Beautiful. Mzi, your advice?
I'd say let it happen. Enjoy the experience. That she speaks to shared meaning, but you actually have to engage and do those things, and she has to participate as well. I think that's the only way that our kids would learn. Otherwise, really do all fall by the wayside, you know.
It's true.
So it's an inclusive process, and be willing to actually get into that process and practice culture. Yeah.
Thank you to both of you for being willing to share your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
After the break,
my daddy always sweep and wash the dishes. Sometimes when my maid isn't there, my mommy cleans it. My maid does the housework and I don't help them.
who does the housework in your home? Welcome back. We are preparing you for parenthood today on Great Expectations. We've talked money, faith, culture, and interfering in-laws. Now let's talk another biggie, housework. Nothing like an unwashed dish to cause a massive family row. We're joined by first-time parents Anita and Desigan Mutusami, and Brian Blem is with us to give us his advice. But first, a word from our experts. Let's hear what these little ones have to say about who does the housework.
Housework is washing your clothes to make sure the dishes are clean. Sometimes I do the housework in my house. My maid does the housework and I don't help them. Sometimes when my maid isn't there, my mommy cleans it. My daddy always sweep and wash the dishes. Also, my daddy cooks a lot. My mommy makes the food at home and my daddy makes food at home.
These kids are so funny. I'm so sorry, Lindsay, we forgot to introduce you in the intro, but you also with us. You told our producers that your husband came home one day and when your baby was still small, and he found the house exactly how it was when he had left in the morning, and he was like, okay, no, I need to contribute here. Tell us about that.
No, it was more like, what have you done all day, actually. However, so we had to actually have a big word with ourselves.
Okay. He wasn't as evolved as,
no. And especially me, I wasn't used to doing all of this. We were used to going out to dinner most nights of the week. So we really had to have a big chat with ourselves. I was hormonal, I was emotional, I was sleep deprived.
Yes.
I used to cry at TV ads.
And Oprah.
You better believe it. So he had to pick up the slack quite a bit, especially in the beginning. If he wanted any kind of food, he had to do the grocery shopping and cook dinner initially.
Was it a series of conversations that you had, or did he just get it and follow the program?
Just get it and follow the program, right? So no, we had to have a few conversations and more. I mean, he did adapt, and make no mistake. I'm joking, but we did have to have a serious word saying, can you please pick up some of the slack? Because he did go to work wondering what I'd done all day.
Yeah.
And you try to explain this, feeding, changing nappies, jiggling. And it does sound like a breeze.
Baby, I mean.
It sounds like a breeze.
Yeah.
It's not.
Anita and Desigan, you know all about this. Desigan, I heard that when your son was born, you changed the nappies for the first 3 weeks.
Pretty much, yes.
Was this a negotiation or?
No, unfortunately, it had to be done. Yeah, I've actually got multiple sclerosis. So there was no discussion needed. We've been told many times for 10 years, you shouldn't have children. It's very hard work. You're going to need help. You're probably going to relapse.
Your baby was a miracle baby.
Yes.
Amazing.
And when he came along, my husband prepared himself, took 3 weeks off work. And I was in a lot of pain, lots of drugged up, as you know.
Sure.
You know, and just like that, I did eventually relapse, and I needed to have a bit of time.
Wow.
And hubby carried all the slack. He just kind of knew that, and it stayed that way for the last year.
Incredible.
Yeah, I'm very blessed.
So I mean, your outlook, Desigan, as a guy, you know, this is a very kind of patriarchal, macho culture, you know. It's a new generation or a new outlook that's coming into our male psyche that allows men to do things like taking care of children, do housework. What was your approach, like mentally, to doing it?
Mentally, I must say, I've seen the dynamics, you know, from the days where your father did nothing.
That's it.
He went to work and he came home, play with you for 5-10 minutes, and he'd carry on with his day.
And if he did something, it was like a standing ovation.
Correct. And mom had to do everything.
Yeah.
This is a team effort. In this day and age, it makes things so much easier when that kid can see love from both sides.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty, bathing a baby, changing nappies. Yes, it takes some adjusting. And from a guy's perspective, I don't do those type of things.
Yeah.
You know what, stomach it, it's your kid. It just creates a better bond for you and your kid.
Wow.
And with mom as well, because now there's 3. There's no more just the 2 of you, so there's gonna be times where you need to bond on a different level, and that kid is there for that reason. Get involved. I think it's the way we should be going. If you're not, think why.
Hallelujah. Brian, what about for couples, or what about for couples who are really struggling, you know, who aren't able to arrive at this level of communication and understanding and adaptability? I mean, there's lots of cultures in South Africa. We all coming from our stories. We all grew up in different ways. How does a couple that's really battling to find common ground with housework, what's your advice to them?
Well, I think that those stereotypes can be very strong, the role modeling and things. So we do face situations where we're not flexible and adjusting, and it does put pressure on the relationship. And if those things are not being discussed, as you say, through constructive healing communication, as I call it, which is an art in itself, which should be developed in relationships and often isn't, then I'm afraid that the couples can be in for a tough time, because what happens is that these things tend not to be discussed, and the resentments tend to fester, and it really starts. I say to my couples when I'm helping them, is I'm really trying to help you to get on top of the issues, as opposed to have the issues get on top of you. Because when we get on top of issues, we grow in the process. But when the issues get on top of us, they tend to squeeze us apart and alienate us from each other, which is a real problem.
It's a huge issue.
And that's why I would recommend that couples who find themselves alienated from one another and not supporting each other should consider therapy of some sort, some sort of support.
Somewhere where you can learn those skills.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for participating in the show. It's been very valuable advice. I wish I'd watched this episode 2.5 years ago before I gave birth to my child. Thank you so much, and all the best. Coming up tomorrow.
Every stumble, every fall breaks my heart in two.
In celebration of Father's Day this Sunday, we pay tribute to awesome daddies.
Makes up the man, even though it takes a while. And
Goodbye, and remember, you're going to be a great mommy.